Greetings, my fellow wealth hackers. Welcome to another episode of the Truth About Real Estate Investing show for Canadians. My name is Erwin Cito, and for those who don't know me, I'm husband and father to two crazy young kids. My wife is Cherry Chan, CPA, CA, and she owns her own accounting practice called Real Estate Tax Tips. Cherry's birthday is actually coming up, so if you see her, please wish her a happy birthday. With restrictions ending, thanks to the vaccine working, Cherry will be able to enjoy her birthday pre-pandemic style. But I can't share any details because it's a surprise. Don't tell her that part. Today's episode is all about family as well, as today's guest is first for the show. A family member of mine that's not Cherry. We'll get to my cousin Chubby in a bit, who's our guest this week. But first, a philosophical question. How do you define success? Brendan Burchard, who is one of the top coaches in the world, he shared with me one of his definitions. When one can return the favor to those who helped them along the way. So one person who's meant a lot to me in my journey is my mom. My mom lost her own mom when she was 9 at the time. So she wasn't even a teenager, and she had to grow up fast to become the woman of the household to her father, which is my grandfather, and her three brothers. Mom moved to Canada later on as a teenager, around 17. She left the comforts of home, which was in a warm tropical climate, for a foreign country that speaks a different language, where the winters are trying to kill us, so that her and us could have a better opportunity. Mom operated an Airbnb out of our home before there was even Airbnb. So she was cooking up breakfasts for guests in her home and also keeping the house. She also worked at a local hotel in the kitchen. Our first home, the house where my parents are operating this Airbnb out of to help make ends meet. Our first home was actually financed with not one, not two, but 3 mortgages in a not so great neighborhood of Scarborough, Ontario. Needless to say, my mom stepped out of her comfort zone for a better future for my brother and I, and it's payback time. As I say that, it sounds funny because often payback time means revenge. But anyways, mom's condo needs renovating. It is a cosmetic reno, but she's repainting, she's replacing interior doors, her front door as well, windows, an air conditioner. The list is not that long, but anyways, Cherry and I happen to have the funds in the bank, and Cherry wired my mom the funds on Monday. I'm not here to brag. I have no interest in impressing anyone. I'm actually a private person, but more important than my want for privacy is to share my experiences and impress upon our listeners, our community, what's possible when one delays gratification, invests in oneself, real estate, stock hacking, and whole life insurance. Then you will realize what's possible. Without people sharing what is possible and actually what works, how would any of us ever get started? One truth about real estate: second-generation investors and entrepreneurs have a high success rate. I see it all the time among our clients and guests on the show. And how about the future generations? People who have multiple generations of business owners. Some of them are extremely successful. So, these folks generally have more opportunities in front of them than the everyday Canadian. One just has to make the choice to get started, whether or not. So that brings me to my cousin Chubby. His real name is actually Wilfrid Lee. My brother came up with the nickname Chubby back when my cousin was first born, because like all babies, he had giant cheeks. And to my brother at the time, who was about 4-ish, I think, thought that he was more chubby than other babies. I don't know, whatever. But the nickname stuck for over 30 years. But the story goes, over Thanksgiving dinner in 2019, pre-pandemic, I went on a bit of a red wine-induced rant that Cousin Chubby was leaving hundreds of dollars on the table as part of his dividend investing strategy. And as cheap people, as in my cousin and I, we're cheap people, leaving money on the table is just as bad as losing money. There's actually a proper term for it. It's called opportunity cost. Even though you didn't actually lose any money, you missed opportunity to make money. So here's my cousin's story. He's a professional musician, and like many professional musicians, he doesn't make a lot of money. He's got no pension, but he does have supportive parents. He's invested in real estate, and he knows how to research and grind. Chubby's story is no different than many millennials. He doesn't have huge savings for down payments on real estate, but he's managed to cash flow $57,000 in 18 months with a less than 6-figure investment. How many investors can say that for themselves? Past, of course, does not predict the future. So if you or someone you care about is interested in an extended version of the demonstration I gave my cousin Chubby, sans, red wine induced rant, then head over to stockhackeracademy.ca to register for our next demonstration. Actually, Cherry's delivering the next demo, so it probably is better than one that I give. Like many things, she does better than I do. And we will have some available seats for in the office if you're one of the cool folks. So again, www.stockhackeracademy.ca/free demo. You're going to see an extended version of the demo that I gave my cousin Chubby that sent him on his way to earning $57,000 in 18 months. Again, past does not predict the future. This is educational purposes only. So, yeah, please enjoy the show. All right, Chubby.
Good morning.
What's keeping you busy these days?
Golf.
Lies.
Golf.
What's really keeping
I've got a sore shoulder to prove it. And a bad wrist. Golf, trading, I don't know, some work.
What do you do for a living?
I teach.
Teach
I'm a
what?
teacher, music.
In the public system, Catholic system? Like
Privately, one-on-one, lots and lots of one-on-one, and I am the music teacher at a private school. So,
like a music school or like
a school.
Like a private school? Like
I do both.
Like
There's a music school, like a retail store that has a lessons department. I'm their brass teacher, and then there's a private school who has a music program. It's sort of an arts focused private school,
right.
So I'm their music teacher.
Oh, okay. How big is this private school?
130 kids. It's small.
Oh, it's tiny.
Yeah,
But
I do all grades. So
okay. This pays a lot of money, right?
it's enough.
It's enough.
It's enough for me to contribute to my trading.
So, because the question always is, whenever we talk about Cousin Chubby, is the bigger thing is whenever we talk about investing in general, people always say, I can't do it because XYZ. I don't make enough. I don't save enough. I'm not smart enough.
Let's talk about that.
I'm not a financial professional. I'm not a whatever. Like everyone else has these special skills that I do not have, right? Including yourself, because we've kind of put you on a pedestal here. Are you deserving of the pedestal?
I don't know the pedestal you put on. I'm not hovering around your Facebook page much.
Why not? I thought we were cool.
I don't hover on anybody's Facebook page much. I'm not a social media socialite.
That's okay. All right, so can you share what your returns have been?
Well, the first year, you have to remember, I just started. So the first 3-4 months, I was very light. Yeah. I think it was like 33%.
And those what? So, excuse me?
The first year.
First year, okay.
2020.
First 3 months was learning curve.
Yeah, so it was like trading banks and commodities, really low risk. Doing 1 or 2 contracts, because I didn't know what I was doing, right? It's nerve-wracking even selling one put when you don't know what a put is.
Right. Okay. So just to for liability reasons, folks, this is Chubby sharing his experience. These are opinions, not advice. Please don't take anything we say as advice.
This is just pure history.
Pure history. Okay, so first 3 months, you learning curve, and then you managed what in your first 12 months, including the learning curve?
Yeah.
You did what in your first month? First year?
33?
30 to 33%.
32, 33, 34-ish.
Including a learning curve.
Yeah.
Okay. When do you think you were past your learning curve? Feeling more confident?
I let myself take more risk, probably around like 3 months. But I had a year and a half of trading penny stocks, which taught me how volatile and I was in the market for a year and a half and looking at the most volatile assets, doing lots of technical reading and just seeing things go up and down 100% in 1 hour. Right. So I knew how
you understood risk, how scary things can be. Right. So you had some context for that.
So I had I had a year and a half of background. So I wasn't like going from not trading anything to doing full-on options trading in 3 months. That's not it. I did a lot of reading, technical stuff.
So you did look at like the opposite end
Oh yeah, I had to explore.
The most extreme.
Yeah, for those of you out there who are looking at the stock market, Ross Cameron and Timothy Sykes, they're both penny stock traders. I subscribe to both of them. They were both very, very different in style. So it gave me some insight on like general market tendencies. From what I learned from those two guys was the charts are a psychological roadmap. Right. That's how I still see it these days. I'm not heavy into technicals, but when I look at a chart, I try to imagine some of the psychology built into it. I'm not the biggest fan of technicals. I find that they require a vacuum to work. True. There's news coming. Yeah, there's earnings. Yeah. Fed's gonna say something funny. Yeah. And puts your indicators all out the window. Right. And the news is happening all the time. So for me, I don't rely on it too much. It works from time to time, but put sellers don't need to worry about daily movement. So why bother?
Right. That's because you are. What would you consider your time horizon focus?
2 to 3 weeks. Right. It's my sweet spot.
Right. But no, that's your trades though. But your investment horizon.
Oh, I look back usually 9 months for midterm support. Support meaning, if this stock were to drop, where would it likely find buying support? I do about 9 months, 6 to 9 months.
Right.
If you do like a 1 month chart, you're very focused on not a lot of data. Well, 1 month chart just doesn't tell you a whole lot. So a year is nice to see.
Yeah, things have been. I start with at least a year. Whenever I start
9
with
months.
At least. So how's this gone for you?
Good.
So actually, no. Let's start from not the beginning of the journey, but because the story I tell is I had the family over for Thanksgiving. I like to.
We were at Christopher's house. It was Thanksgiving. It was in the summer.
What was it at my house when I handed you the book?
I think that was the second time you told me. First time we were at Chris's house.
Okay, I don't remember.
Summer barbecue.
Okay, you didn't.
And then.
Okay.
And then I was already. I think so.
Yeah, pre-COVID. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah, you told me about it like on 2 separate family occasions.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what did you do with that information?
I started reading. Started looking, doing some of my own research, and then shortly after, I was in the Lee Lowell program. Got more professional insight. Started figuring out, how this all works. That's it.
So I remember between the summer barbecue and taking our beginner course, there was a Thanksgiving at my house.
That's when you handed me the book, right?
That's when I handed you the book.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I remember I told you I own such and such amount of stock in RBC.
World Bank.
Yeah, and you're like, you should have just sold puts on RBC and collected X amount of money instead of holding. I was like, okay. And that kind of clicked a little bit, right?
Because if you remember I remembered the conversation because then we're over Thanksgiving dinner. I had a bit of red wine.
I think I had some red wine too, so I'm not gonna remember a whole lot.
So when I have red wine, I get a bit more opinionated because usually I'm pretty reserved. I don't tell anyone what to do with their money.
No, you're pretty much like that all the time.
Maybe more with you because you're more receptive. Less so with other family members. Like I would never say that to your sister or your parents.
Yeah.
Oh, for anyone who doesn't know, this is my cousin Chubby. Chubby, what's your real name? Just
Wilfrid.
For the record. All right, thank you.
Like the Wilfrid Laurier.
Hopefully that name stays. Sorry, never mind. Sidetracked.
It's old school.
So anyways, I'm a bit more opinionated with you because you actually listen to some of the stuff I say versus very few of our family do. Hence, very few of them own any real estate or do any stock investing, let alone stock option investing. Anyways, and then I grab my phone because I'm at dinner. I'm at the dinner table. I don't have my phone with me, so I'll go get my phone and I show you on the application using Interactive Broker, right, how to actually do the trade and I actually showed you the money you would have collected should you just sold options on Royal Bank of Canada instead of just entering limit orders.
Yeah.
And then I remember that night or the morning after, you messaged me saying you left $500 on the table.
It's like 500 or 800.
Right. And that's a lot of money.
Yes. Only because I had so many bank stocks.
Right.
It was like a 1%.
But that's 1% that
In your pocket.
for doing the same thing you were already doing.
It's very different. It's hard to get into your head unless you start doing it.
I know, and that's why I think most people don't do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you got it, right?
I don't remember how I got it, but yeah, I got it at some point.
Like the overnight, you messaged me saying,
Yeah.
like, I not like you necessarily screwed up, but yeah, you could have collected $500 for doing nothing different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, and then that to me that seemed like the light bulb.
Yeah.
That light bulb moment, like I'm gonna go down this rabbit hole further.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've lived it, so you see how hard it is to get people to understand to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's confusing.
Okay, so the bigger question is, how have things gone since you started?
Good. So 33, give or take, percent on my first year, and this year, or 7 months into the year, and I just looked. Now it's a little confusing because I hold USD.
Mm-hmm. And US
and there's
dollars
a
going
bit
down.
of a fluctuation, but it's telling me I've made 27% this year.
So 27%.
It's give or take because of the USD.
Right. So 27% year to date in
So that's an
2021.
Annualized, I don't know, 45.
Yeah, but you can't predict the future.
You can't.
No.
I could make nothing this year.
Hey, if you stopped, if the year ended
I know.
27%.
I was close to my goal. My goal is between 30 and 35.
All right.
It's true, yeah. I could stop right now.
Now, what was your goal before?
I set it to 30.
What was your goal before you knew about stock options? Before what we call stock hacking?
Contribute to TFSA bank stocks, collect dividends.
Uh-huh. And then what would your goal have been for that, for the returns?
Probably rental properties.
No, sorry, in terms of percentage return.
Oh, there are no percentages. You don't calculate that.
Okay.
You don't really look at it because you're subject to the market.
Right,
you
right.
can't predict that.
Okay. Wow. So you went from like unpredictability to setting pretty firm targets.
It's firm.
Assigning a number to it, at least.
It's kind of arbitrary, but yeah, I set it just to have some, because I have to do compounding returns, because I have to calculate it
Right.
to see what 5 years, 10 years looks like. So I just set like a 30, 35 as a benchmark.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Try not to let it determine how I feel, though.
Yeah, because
If I miss it, I miss it. I've started to, and this isn't for beginners, but I've started to look at my earnings per quarterly rather than weekly and monthly, because that gave me heartburn.
Yeah,
it's like, what? My average weekly is 1,000. I only made 500 this week. No, that's just not healthy lifestyle. So now I'm quarterly. I had a month where I made nothing. I was like, that's all right.
It's all right.
I got 2 months to go.
Yeah.
I didn't make any for 2 months. That's okay. I got another month to go. So it's helped me sleep better.
Can you share how much you have in your account? What did you start with?
Yeah. I actually did look back. It was like 55K Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
But I've since contributed like an extra like 40. But on top of that, I made like an extra close to 60. So we're at 150K Canadian. Give or take the USD, because I'm all USD.
All right.
I'm like just a hair under 150K right now.
So you started with 55,000. You added
about
40
of my own cash.
40 of your own cash.
Yeah.
And you made 60?
About 57
You made 57.
for a year and a half.
I made $57,000 Canadian in a year and a half.
We're live on Apple. I should take profits. We'll do that later.
Did you...
expect that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't expect it. The first 3 months I was trading, I was like, well, I'll do some bank stocks.
Yeah.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
Looks like I'll make $30 this week.
Yeah.
That's nice. What's a lunch?
Yeah.
$30. I'm going to get a free lunch every week. That feels good to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hold on, I can do 2 of these contracts. Hold on. The premiums on Tesla are how much? I didn't touch Tesla or like Bitcoin for the longest time. That stuff scared the crap out of me. I slowly worked my way up to the riskier assets. So, risk is risk. And anytime someone says, isn't that risky? I'm like, isn't like buying RBC risky? Like, we're all taking a risk here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, initially I was like, I would be happy making 30, 40, $50 a week. And then, seeing how you're trading, I was like, oh, you're chasing these premiums because they're much more volatile. Okay, I'll try that out. I can't remember what it was. I don't think I jumped into Tesla for a long time.
All right.
But I never jump into anything just because it's volatile. Never.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
That's gambling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And, I have to do research on every asset I trade. Yes, it's highly volatile. Great. But if it's a ridiculous stock and a ridiculous company, I'm not in. All my companies are rich. Because the number one rule is you can't invest in a company that can go bankrupt. That's number one rule. So I'm in Apple, Nvidia, Air Canada, Tesla. They're all have billions and billions of cash stockpiled somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my number one rule. Make sure your company is not the next Nortel or Enron.
Right. Yeah, because people like family members have said what you're doing is risky.
Because do you remember Nortel? My dad lost $100K in Nortel. He has that feeling in him. I'm like, I get it. Yeah. I get it. Oh, his stockbroker lost him $100K or something like that. I don't know. Ever since then, he's sworn off investment.
He's sworn off all financial stock.
No, he's into bank stocks. That's it.
Okay.
But you remember those moments. I did some research. I'm like, why did Nortel crash? It was the internet bubble. Mm-hmm. Who would have predicted that?
That was a little hot.
Is electric vehicle a bubble? Absolutely not. Have you seen global warming? Right. That's the thesis, sad. Right? You can't ignore the momentum shift towards renewable resources. Mm-hmm. So the foundation for a Tesla trade is much firmer than Nortel, even though the company itself is kind of like volatile.
Yes. Including the owner.
Yeah, I wish he would put the Twitter down. My goodness, he's laughing. Stop twittering.
He's giving us some lovely volatility in the Bitcoin.
He's giving me heartburn. Now he mentions, oh, you know what? We'll most likely accept Bitcoin again.
Yeah.
2 weeks after I get out of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad. Talk about Bitcoin some other time. That deserves its own podcast.
So Averna, who's about 10 feet from you, she's getting her Model Y this week. I've declared to my family that we're no longer ever going to buy an oil-powered vehicle.
I'm a car guy.
Yeah. You're a car guy. I totally get it. Yeah. I'm not a car guy. I'm more about like get to A to B.
Why'd you get a Beamer?
Why? Because of the business I'm in.
I don't know.
Right? That's the truth about real estate investing. If you are in a position that you have a brand,
I know.
Right?
I know.
If you have a brand and you're supposed to be successful, then you have to portray being successful. Right? If I had a day job, if I had T4, I'd be driving a used Honda probably.
No, you would. Yeah, you would.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, because I don't care that much.
Your gun's cheap.
Yeah, I am cheap.
So am I.
Yeah.
I am. I am cheap.
Okay, you drive an M3.
Well, I'm a car guy though.
Yeah, you're a car guy. But you made money, didn't it go up?
Yeah, E46 M3. It's going up in price.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. All right.
Yeah.
You made even though you've got an asset that's actually going up in value. Like I love that.
Well, I'm also putting miles on it, so it's like evening out. Plus maintenance and insurance. I'm losing.
But it's the best you could do.
And I enjoy it. What's the price of enjoyment? You gotta be cheap, but you gotta put a value to your enjoyment.
Right.
Yeah.
I
am cheap.
I'm cheap too.
I bought my golf clubs on Kijiji.
Beautiful.
I'm cheap.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right,
What were we talking about?
We are talking about... Jesus, I can't believe you made $57,000.
You were talking about Tesla.
Wait, hang on. So you made all this money.
I don't touch it.
Your family knows you're smart.
They do? They didn't tell me that. They didn't tell me they think I'm smart.
We can dig into that a little bit.
Are they telling you stuff they're not telling me? I'm the black sheep of the family, by the way. I took music as a career in a family of engineers and doctors. Wilfrid's studying music. Of course he is.
Yeah.
He had long green hair. What else is he going to do?
I never shared this with you because I've actually thought about that a lot, being a parent. There's actually like I don't think it's Far Side, but it's like a Far Side comic where there's a tree.
Didn't read much of it.
It's not much reading.
Calvin and Hobbes.
No.
Sorry, I'm sorry. You just brought me back. Okay, go.
So it's a cartoon, and there's different animals there. So there's an elephant, a fish, a monkey, I forget what else. And there's someone at a desk and says, okay, the test is, for the final exam or whatever, is to climb that tree.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're asking an elephant, a monkey, a fish,
Rigged?
I don't know, like a lion to go climb a tree. If that's the test, who's the best? Right? And then in public school, Catholic school, whatever, school system, who does the best in school? Right? Versus looking back, it was very obvious to me that you were an artist. Right? Your gift was in music. You were an artist.
Yeah.
School was not designed for you.
I guess not.
Right?
I was not designed for it.
Both ways.
Yeah.
But they didn't. But the school was not ready to adapt to you. They didn't adapt to you.
Well, my high school was actually really flexible. Did you know my high school?
Yeah.
Self-directed.
But it was. Yeah. How long did it take to get you there?
What do you mean?
How many years of arguing and like poor grades and I don't know what your parents were like, but it couldn't have been easy being
I didn't
an artist
do my
in a Chinese
homework.
family.
I just didn't do my homework. I just didn't go to class.
Yeah.
I failed geography. I failed business. I failed French. All the
Right.
easy courses.
Yeah.
I failed them all. I just didn't do it. I just didn't show up to class.
But that wasn't your gift.
My gift was causing a riot.
No, your gift is in music.
Yes.
Like you were in the Toronto Symphony
Youth
Orchestra.
I went to McGill, studied classical music.
Right.
Look,
But you were good at it.
I'm good. There's no career. I don't. It doesn't matter. There's no
So what?
financial career in it. That's why I teach. That's why.
My
Yes.
point is, if hindsight, it's easy to say this in hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were my kid, I would support the music path.
Oh yeah, my dad completely did.
Right.
Absolutely.
Ideally, it would have been identified earlier. Right. Perfect world. You know, when you're like 5-6 years old, if I saw the struggles you have in the regular school system, right? Like that is who you are.
Yeah.
Why do you need to learn geography? It's helpful.
It was mandatory.
I think it's nice to be worldly and stuff.
It was mandatory. Yeah.
But again, to me, the heavy focus should have been what you're gifted in.
Yeah.
Right? Because maybe you would have had a future. Because a friend, one of the smartest people I know, always said, if you're the best at what you do, there'll always be a job for you. Mm-hmm. So if you're the best brass player, best trombone player in the world, you better believe there's a job for you. Yeah. Right?
That's a different podcast.
Anyways, and actually that's just a good point, is that, again, people who don't invest in whatever they want to invest, they always have excuses saying, oh, that person has some sort of advantage over me, I can't do this.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You are a musician by trade,
Yeah.
not a financial guru,
Nope.
not a heavy analyst,
Nope.
not rich,
Nope.
right? But you managed to make $57,000. You're buying golf today, buddy.
I thought you were a member.
I am a member.
Okay, I'll pay for the free golf.
You're buying lunch.
I told you I was buying dinner.
Yeah, but that's far away.
Not like today.
So again, what I love about your example again and your journey is again that you don't have any sort of heavy background in any of this.
Far from it.
And some of your... So let's just jump right into it. So your dad is actually very successful in real estate.
Yes. I had help.
Yes.
Okay. My parents ran a real estate company, old school. No social media.
Right.
So fax machines and everything. Man.
Yeah.
It's so old school.
So they had a brokerage.
Yep.
Your dad was a broker of record, operated a real estate brokerage.
Yeah.
With a couple hundred realtors.
I don't remember the max number, but it's huge.
I remember the office was way bigger than my office.
You have 2 of them.
Yeah, but I rent half of it. Your office had
people
ours
is huge. It's humongous.
Yeah.
Given the time that my dad was working in, his fees were astronomical. He told me how much he spent on newspaper ads. I'm like, Dad, can I have some of that money? I'm like, where's that money going?
Was it a lot?
This is huge.
$1 million?
It was like $250,000 a year, probably.
That's not bad.
As a kid, it was like the 90s, man.
Right.
My head blew off.
Right. And then your parents did a little bit of real estate investing. I wouldn't say heavy.
No, they're very light. So, like, how I even acquired enough cash to do any of this stuff was as soon as I graduated, I got a job, like, flipping burgers at a go-kart track, okay? Yeah. I'm a graduate of McGill University. I can play the trombone. Give me a job? No, it's not how it works. Go flip burgers. And what did I do with all that money? I shoved it away, put it in a little piggy bank, and when I had enough, I started flipping properties. It took me like a few years to save up enough to make any noticeable profit, but me and my parents would flip properties. They would fork over some cash for the down payment. I'd give them what I had. Started flipping properties, and timing was insane. The timing was impeccable. And we were flipping properties in Liberty Village when it was coming up. So doubly effective.
It's still coming up.
Is it still?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah, it is. Okay, so just to clarify, was this resale condos or these new construction?
New construction, man.
So you didn't lift a finger.
Free inflation.
Right.
No maintenance fees, no headache. They're building it while condo prices are going up. So
right.
We did rent the second one out just because the timing was off. And by the time we sold the second one, the market just was in our favor. So it was good.
So you're really just flipping paper.
Well, yeah.
Right. Because I had to clarify because most people on this show actually lift a hammer and, throw up drywall and replace kitchens and
let the builder do that.
Put in a second
New
furnace.
builds are awesome.
Right.
Because it takes a good year or two, at which point
more than that now.
Well, yeah, the market is going to move in your favor more or less.
Right.
You didn't pay any taxes. You didn't pay any maintenance fees.
Yeah. For
2-3 years now.
Yeah.
All right. So, and if the market's no good, you just rent it for a bit. It's great.
Did your parents do that a lot?
A little bit. I mean, they're very conservative. My parents don't like anything that's super risky.
Right.
There were many times in my parents' life where I wish we bought that place. I wish we bought 2-3 units. They were talking about buying a place in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Had they done that?
Yeah.
Whatever, everything. But my parents are very, very conservative. Hence the TFSA, the bank stocks that I had saved up. We weren't a trading family. We were just kind of grind it out. Nothing spectacular. Just, I asked my dad, why was your company more successful than others? Because he would tell me other people were going bankrupt, and he said it was kind of luck, some of it. He diversified his clientele where other companies are like, oh, we want Hong Kong clients. We want Chinese clients. And if that goes by the wayside, you got nothing. We had Indian clients. We had, Caucasian, Canadian clients, Chinese clients. We didn't discriminate. We're all just open for business. So when the Hong Kong market dried up, we were still fine.
Right.
So it was a bit of luck, and my dad worked insanely hard.
Yeah.
He was the handyman. He'd go in on Sundays and fix all our printers and he'd do the dirty work, man.
Right.
It was hard. I would vacuum once a week.
Right. And your mom was
the
pretty busy too in the business.
Accountant. She just had nothing else to do. Yeah, she's the accountant.
Right. So how many properties have you been involved with?
Personally?
For investment?
2.
Right.
I don't count my place as an investment. I mean, it is. But personally, too.
Mm-hmm. So remember the story where you were looking to buy, were you looking to buy a detached house originally?
No, I couldn't afford it. Or
was it a townhouse?
There was a townhouse in Unionville.
Right. And the year was 2016?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
I ended up buying a condo for a lot less. Because it was just smaller.
How come you didn't buy the townhouse?
Okay. So my dad was my agent. I said, Dad, I like the townhouse. The price is right.
Mm-hmm.
Put in an offer. He said, no, it's a bidding war.
Mm-hmm.
There's no point. I said, really? He said, yeah. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
fine. Let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
Like a month later, it sells for roughly what they asked. I was like, Dad? I'm fine. Whatever. Right. I mean, I enjoy my condo. It was half the price. It was half the price of the townhouse.
Let's finish the story. How much was that townhouse?
Like, high 6.
Oh, my Lord.
In Unionville?
What's it worth now?
I have no idea. 8?
No, more than that.
8. I'm not following. I'm not an real estate investment guy. I don't know. It's out of my control. I don't care.
It's over $1 million.
Well, no, it's an older unit.
I'll look it up.
It's got a lower ceiling. No, you're thinking of those townhouses like our new build on Highway 7. Those are like 1.5. It's not those ones.
Yeah, if that's 1.5, how's this one not 1?
It's much older.
Square footage?
I don't remember.
I'll look it up.
1,200.
I like closure.
Right. Yeah,
1,200 square feet.
Just nerding out to these figures,
dude.
These are all just off the top of my head, man. Don't quote me on
that. That would sell for a lot of money even in Hamilton, let alone Unionville. Yeah, and that's the challenge with buying real estate in a rising market is often you do have to fight for property. Right? My Robin's house that I bought, my daughter's house that I bought, there's 4 offers. I was one of 4 offers. Right? I had to outbid everybody to win it.
Yeah.
Right? I paid $245 for it. For a 1,000 square foot bungalow, detached, in Hamilton.
When?
The year she was born. 2014.
Oh, I was like, what decade? All right.
Yeah, okay. What decade? 2014. Not even 10 years ago. Right? Now it's worth $850.
8?
Yeah. I renovated.
Why am I buying much?
Because
Okay.
Because we're Chinese.
Because equity's not cash. I don't touch my trading. That's not cash either. I've had a mutual agreement with myself to never touch it.
How's it a mutual agreement with yourself?
I talk to myself all the time.
Okay.
I will not touch that money for a good while.
So you've had conversations with other people about investing.
Yep.
How's that gone?
Stubborn. People are afraid, stubborn, not willing to learn.
Because within our own family, we have a couple of real estate investors. In terms of stock hackers, it's just really yourself, my brother, and I.
Simon.
He's starting?
He's messaging me. He's my age. He took the path of financial gains. I did not. He was an engineer, works for Amazon.
Yeah, classic Chinese kid.
Makes more than you. No, I don't know, maybe. He might.
Yeah.
He's obviously an engineer, so he's smart enough to do this. You don't have to be smart to do this. Actually, got to put that on the record. You don't have to be smart to do this.
Because we know lots of smart people not doing this. Because, for example...
Sure, that's not really the evidence I'm looking for, but...
like, your sister has her MBA.
Exactly. She's smart and not doing it, but you don't have to be smart to do it. I wish I could convey that. Yeah, you have to have, like, some patience and read through some boring material.
Yeah.
You did university for business or whatever.
Yeah. She works for the government. It's got to be boring, too.
I think so. Yeah. A lot of spreadsheets. Man, oh, boy almighty.
What did she tell you why she's not doing this? Because she's smart as heck.
I know her very well. She cannot handle risk.
Mm-hmm.
She can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Here's a risk that I can't handle. So I don't know how much I can share.
Bleep it out. Edit.
You tell me if we need to bleep this out later. So for example, like she moved from Toronto to Ottawa.
Yeah.
Right? She sold her place in Toronto.
She didn't have a place in Toronto.
Okay, fine. Point is, she can never come back. In terms of, she bought a house in Ottawa. Right?
Yeah.
How is she ever supposed to get back to Toronto?
Retirement.
How is she ever supposed to afford a house? She can't afford the same house.
Oh my goodness. They told me what their houses were. I'm like, really? I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was that bad.
What's that?
I mean, their house is pretty big. I mean, I thought it'd be, I don't know. Well, let's not get into it, but like the market in Ottawa is not the same here. I'm close.
Right.
You know, I'm so sorry for them, but like, I kind of feel sorry.
Right. So even though they make really good money and nice big fat government pensions,
they'll have to.
They can't
really
afford to live
grind
here.
It to come back here.
Yeah, they can't afford to live in Toronto.
They could. They're smart. They're frugal.
If they had some help.
They have a long-term perspective.
If they had help.
They're fine.
But again, my point is, if you want, like, I want my kids to be able to have choices. Mm-hmm. I don't like choices being taken away from me.
Sure.
Right? I don't want that for my kids either. They want to live in downtown Toronto, they'll have the option to live downtown Toronto.
Yeah.
Right? But for people who never, because even at a basic point of real estate investing, right? It's not even real estate investing, it's just economics. Knowing that there's inflation coming. I always knew there was inflation coming, right? And we always knew the currency devaluation was here and coming and going to increase. So I need a hedge, right? If the theory comes true, which all indications it was going to come true, you needed a hedge, right? And what are you going to hedge with, right? What's a hard asset?
Gold.
Yeah, you want to drop like $500,000 in gold?
There's no maintenance fees.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, but would you drop would you drop your life savings in gold?
If I did the research,
Right.
Could have. Depends.
Man, even the biggest gold bugs in the world don't drop more than like 30% of their net worth in gold. Right? I'm sure there's some that do, but very, very few people. Right? So like holding real estate makes a lot of sense. At least it's a hedge, right?
Yeah.
Because we literally see people doing it every day. Like I have clients that do it. They'll buy a condo in Toronto, and hold it until their kids need it.
Yeah.
Right. So to me, that's a risk. If you don't hedge, you can be priced out. Mm-hmm. Right. So people see risk differently. They always they just look at the loss. They don't look at the opportunity. Mm-hmm. Right.
It's not bad.
What's not bad?
Looking at your loss first.
No, you have to.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't think I look at my loss potential? I think the smarter investor looks at their loss potential first before they look at what the gains can be.
Yeah.
Right? Or at least have them the same conversation. Yeah. Right? Versus some people just look at the loss side.
Yeah.
Right? Like the story of my daughter buying my daughter's house was, I knew that sending her to university would be a lot of money. Yeah. Right? So how was I supposed to pay for it? So that's my risk. My risk was I would have to come out of pocket $70,000 for 4 years of tuition. Mm-hmm. Right? That's a risk to me. Right? Versus a lot of people don't even have those conversations.
Yeah. We're getting off subject here.
Are we? This is a real estate show.
Started off as a trading show.
We're
going to talk about golf next.
The show at the end of the day is about how can people get ahead.
Yeah.
How can people help themselves?
Assets of any class rise faster than salaries.
Coming from the musician.
Oh, you just have to read a book to understand that.
Which book?
Or look at the news. Just look around. Stop complaining about the government. Stop saying I can't get into it. It's like a current. You just got to jump in. People don't look at time. They don't look at time frames. Like, I can't do this now. It's like, yeah, I couldn't either. Start off. I was flipping burgers at 22 at a go-kart track. Flipping burgers.
Yeah.
I was like, paycheck, savings, paycheck, savings, paycheck, savings. Started getting some students, paycheck, savings.
You worked a lot of food services jobs.
Yeah, it was just, I was always into cooking. It was more of a hobby than anything. But
Right.
it was a convenient job to get me started. You know, no one wants to be jobless for too long. But it was my foot through the door. And then I started teaching more and more. Got a nice gig with a private school. Teaching can be lucrative. It's a high per hour wage. You just have to fill up your schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Since COVID happened, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Mm-hmm. This is the same time that like stock hacking happened. So I was like, whoa, I'm actually making more than I've ever made.
Were you making more stock hacking than you were at your day job?
It's
day
like,
jobs?
They're close to each other. They're going to be equal. And it's going to keep going up. So very soon it'll be more than I make actually working.
And you started with $55,000 and an additional $40,000 of your own money.
Yeah.
So not a humongous amount.
No.
Right.
All I had.
This is your life savings?
I have a lot of cash in the condo. I put a humongous down payment on it.
Okay.
Huge.
In your home?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There's a huge amount of equity in there. As a way to hedge against risk. I lowered my fees by putting cash in there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know. In hindsight, I wouldn't have done that because I've locked up like so much money I could put it in other places. But I'm fine with that risk hedge.
So the show has a lot of young listeners. What would you tell yourself at 22?
Start saving. Start saving. This is not, I think what turns people off is how much capital it requires. You know, I told some friends about this. You know, they're like, my friend was like, "Oh, can I make $5,000 right now, dude?" And I'm like, "Well, if you have a whole lot of money, why 5,000? Well, I have 5,000 in bills." Like, don't ask that.
Were they saving?
I don't get too personal about that stuff. But start saving. Start studying. Start saving. Have a plan. Have a long-term plan. You know, my goal isn't to make X amount this month, this quarter, but to kind of just stay on the average of 30. I think 30 is very manageable from year to year. So far, I mean, I have no idea. I told myself I don't know what I'm doing until 5 years of trading has gone by.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still a noob. Year and a half, I'm like a newborn. Have I been lucky? Maybe. Has the market been on our side? I don't know.
Right.
So I said 5 years gone by, then I can start talking as if I know what I'm doing.
All right. You're moving pretty good. You rotate out of sectors that are falling out of favor, and you rotate into ones that are.
You got to pay attention.
Right.
The thing is, people always go, "Don't you have to watch the market all the time?" I'm like, sometimes, yeah. Like, I don't want to do that. It's stressful. Most of the time, I'm just counting my profits. Like, it's true though. Yeah, there are moments where things crash and like, oh Christ, you know, this is part of the game though. Bitcoin crashed. What was I down? Like, holy crap. Oof. On my puts, I don't remember. Evened out. It evens out. It evens out, right? But what would I tell younger people? Study, save. Have some kind of long-term goal, because when your short-term goals are all you're looking at, you're very irrational. You're very emotional. Same with chart reading. Have a long-term goal. 5-10 years. That's mine.
How far away were you from that when you were 22?
From trading?
No, from having a longer term view.
None. Well, my at that point I was just flipping property, but before trading was ever on my peripheral. It was just real estate. This is my background, my dad's background, right?
Mm-hmm. So your story is no different than many young people, because if you think trading is hard to come up with the initial.
The
fund.
one caveat is I had supportive parents. Not everyone has that.
Right.
A lot of people my age are renting, right? I bought a place and a nice car, and I can trade because I had some help, and I spent years slumming it to add to my helpful background.
Yeah. Because I've heard about where you lived when you went to school in Montreal. I heard it was pretty ghetto.
I cheaped out on rent, to save. I do find places to save.
Yeah.
Drove a Civic for as long as I could. I wear the same clothes from high school sometimes.
Yeah, I still do that too.
You do?
I still have some clothes from high school, yeah.
My shoes have holes in them. I'm going to embarrass the heck out of you at the golf club.
Okay.
Just don't look down.
Wow.
Sorry.
For those who are just listening up, and most of you are just listening, Chubby has no treads on his shoes.
They're slicks. Extra grip.
Summer slicks.
If it rains, I'm falling.
So then my point to people is, if you don't have supportive parents, you didn't have supportive parents, then it's on you to
buckle down, save.
Yeah.
My generation has a hard time putting their ego aside to save. I find I've some prime examples of people who've made six figures for a long time and just don't live within their means because, hey, they've earned it. They got money coming in. I want to eat this way. I want to travel. I mean, this is a different conversation, really. This is not an investment conversation. This is just a lifestyle thing, which parlays into investment. You got to look at, you're not rich if you make $250,000. Because if you spend $250,000 a year, you're not rich, you're poor.
Mm-hmm.
If you make $50,000 a year, you only spend $15,000-$20,000 a year, which is how I was rolling.
Right.
I'm saving $25,000-$30,000 a year. I can do that by living at home.
Yeah.
I really wanted to move out. I had the means to move out at my early 20s. I knew I could, but I was like, okay, let's live home. It's uncomfortable. It's a nice house, but still. I'm a grown-ass man with my parents. No one likes that. But I did it for so long to flip properties, to increase, my net worth. And it paid off. Timing was on my side. But, it was hard work. Instead of living in my own place and calling myself an adult, feeling like a big man, I was at home, flipping property. Driving a Civic, whatever.
But your parents were supportive of this. They weren't pushing you.
Of course. I mean, they're financially minded. They know what's going on. But yeah.
So like I said, when I had a T4 job, as in I was making an income.
What's a T4 job? Like a salaryman?
Yeah.
Never heard
yeah,
that term.
salaryman.
T4 job. They call them salarymen.
Sure.
I have a T4 job. It's like, what's that?
That's how you report on your income. T4.
I get T4 equivalents.
Right. Yes, you do. A little bit different.
Salaryman equivalent.
I think you're a bit of a contract.
I'm all contract.
Right. So non-contract, a salary.
Yeah.
I'm entitled. I'm
paying lots of tax.
Yeah, paying lots of tax. Well, hence I was driving and used Accord. I would take public transit. I'd never buy Starbucks. Never. I drink the coffee at the office.
I still don't.
Yeah.
Well, I like once every few weeks.
Right.
A nice little latte.
Right. Yeah. But this is the reality of how do you save?
Right. The little things add up. I've had a lot of people complain, I saw this video, some rich man saying, stop buying Starbucks. Say, what's that going to add up to a year? Well, add up other habits.
Mm-hmm. Smoking. Drinking.
Quitting smoking is not just for financial reasons, but yeah, drinking. I have the hardest time ordering a beer at a restaurant. I was on like a friend date. I don't know what to call it. I was like, you know how much I just saved by drinking 2 beers at home?
And then coming to lunch?
I'm like doing the math. She's like, who cares? I'm like, you think about those things. I still do.
My point is to be frugal until you have means to spend on those things. Like, for example, I'm going golfing today, but I'm treating my cousin to golf. I'm in a different position than I was 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? Never would I be done doing these things 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm in a different position now. I mean, I don't spend anything I make, but in the back of my head, you do have to.
You found a side hustle that exceeds your daily income, your regular income.
compounding effects. I can't stress this enough. I tell people I aim for 30% a year. Like, that's cool, 30% a year. I'm like, compound that. They're like, what? It's like, just get a calculator and compound that. People don't want to hear this. It's big words. I'm scared. No, not scary.
That's funny because there's an observation that the company has made that it's largely analytical people who invest.
This place?
In general, I mean, yeah, in this place we've noticed a trend where it's a lot of analytical people, and it's not like math-based people. We have a lot of clients in IT, for example, right?
Yeah.
Like you're saying, there's a lot of people that don't understand compound interest, compound returns.
Yeah. They need a visual cue. I don't know. Numbers are boring. I don't know. But yeah, save, research, compound these numbers. Have a long-term goal. Live within your means. You know, don't let your ego tell you. Look, my friends that are my age who are making six figures but have to rent, can't buy a farm. I can't tell them, like, hey man, live within your means. There's an ego there. But if you're hearing this through the screen, I can say it. You know, put your ego aside. It doesn't matter you make six figures because you spent it all. It doesn't matter. You have no retirement plan. You have no safety net.
Yeah.
You have no long-term safety or comfort. None. Whereas I've heard of people making $50,000 a year buying their condo. I've seen that. How? It's just, you gotta just put your ego aside and just live with your means.
You want to know what rent is in Liberty Village these days? A friend of mine just rented as 2-bedroom. Close. My friend of mine just rented as 2-bedroom in Liberty Village, so new construction. $3,000.
Oh, it's close.
Right.
Oh, it's close.
One person's living in it, getting a whole bunch of help from their parents.
That's a lot of money that you'll never see again, man.
Yeah.
Crikey.
Right. And then they're posting about on Instagram that they got a penthouse.
I would never live in Liberty Village unless I owned it, ever. Right? I'd much rather live in Scarborough or something. Take a TTC.
So something else I want to bring up is, you took our stock hacker course, our beginner stock hacker course with Lee Lowell, but your trading style is quite different than what we taught.
I mean, I've tailored it. I mean, I follow a lot of the numbers that he taught.
And would you recommend it to others?
Well, of course. Having someone who's been doing this for 30 years telling you how this works, you can't replace that, right? Because you can't listen to me for any advice. He's had 30 years.
Yeah.
All right, you listen to him.
Yeah.
Right? He's seen it up and down. He knows what things are like over a long period of time. And that's important. All right? He gives us a cooler head.
I know.
Yeah.
And he's been trading light lately because we're at all-time highs.
Because the longer we don't have raising rates, the higher the chances we get them. So, guys, there's a bit of a cliff coming. September, I'll be very light.
I should probably lighten up today.
Late August, mid-August, I'm going to start lighting up. I mean, I'm paranoid about rolling anything right now. Because the Fed, they have to talk. When the Fed talks, and the longer we don't get rising rates, the higher the chances they come.
So just for the listeners' benefit, Chubby's talking about the U.S. Federal Reserve, so the central bank of the U.S.
Biggest market mover on the planet.
And eventually they're going to reduce spending, inflation interest rates could eventually go up, and that will negatively affect the high-flying growth stocks.
It makes no sense, but that's how the markets react. They raise rates because the economy is too good. Oh no, stocks go down. But it affects their bottom line and their cash flow. So the thing about that is when people start trading, they read the news in a very black and white manner. They don't see all this funny stuff below it. It doesn't make any sense. What I learned was the news is just a lot of it is you have to filter it. A lot of it, you know. Why would stocks go down when the economy's hot? Does that make any sense? It's gonna happen.
Right.
It's gonna happen.
Definitely have to have a longer term view.
The long term we're fine.
Yeah.
But I'm a 2-3 week window guy. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the question I haven't asked you: how much time do you spend on stocks? A week, a day?
How much time should I?
Sure.
I should look at it. I don't know, 2-3 hours a week. I should.
Mm-hmm. What do you spend?
Way too much. It's like a nervous twitch. It's stupid, man. You just look at it for no good reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know you're not going to do anything. You just look at it.
Right. Well, it's better than
just checking your email every half hour. Same thing. What are you going to do?
I'd argue this is more productive than looking at like your Instagram, for example.
I technically have an Instagram, but I don't look at it.
Right.
Yeah.
How much time do you think people do need to look at it? So when you're telling like your sister or your friends to be doing this, how much time investment is it?
Probably need to is 2-3 hours a week. Probably seems about right. But you do have to be aware of the general news. So we're always on CNBC,
mm-hmm.
right? I'm sure you are. Every day somebody says something. 80% of the time, whatever they say is meaningless.
Mm-hmm.
But there's 20% of the time
mm-hmm.
or less where it's like you got to pay attention. So,
mm-hmm.
you know.
I was talking to another big time investor just this week, and they have a ridiculous amount of real estate.
Yeah.
And they took the course as well, and they're saying how in the course we said you need to read the news pretty often, right? And they're like not interested. They're like, oh, that's terrible. It felt like it was such a massive burden. And then they're telling me how appreciative they are because they're so much more worldly now.
Yeah, it does sound like a burden at first.
Yeah.
It does. But then it becomes a lifestyle.
Yeah.
I'm not against it.
Yeah.
I wish I could control it better, but it is what it is.
I think it's interesting because in his context, he's making much more progressive decisions now. Like for example, I'm not saying we're both right or wrong or whatever, but for example, why we're both bullish on oil and in turn Alberta, right?
I traded some energy, yeah.
Right, that's short term, right? But short term trading. Oh, you're bullish oil long term?
I was bullish energy, so oil.
Long term?
No, I was just selling puts on XLE.
Right.
I got out at the right time.
Right.
I've been lucky this year. Partly lucky.
One thing that I noticed about what I did was doing in real estate was that I was so focused on real estate that I kind of lost the larger view. Right. I didn't realize that I didn't have a larger view.
Mm-hmm.
And so and then even just...
Did you really need one?
I think it helps. For example, I have lots of friends who invest in Alberta for the longest time. And how's that gone? Not well, right?
Standing on 3 legs, that town.
Right? But again, so for someone who had a more worldly view, they would have seen, like, for example, like the U.S. government. Like they've been, like, Barack Obama was very pro green energy, right? And then we knew Joe Biden was running for president, right? Mm-hmm. This isn't about politics. This is just about, because I don't care about politics in terms of I'm not going to influence the outcome.
Yeah.
I want to understand where things will go based on who the leader's going to be, right?
Right, yeah.
And then, when it looked like Biden was going to win, you have to be thinking some things around green energy.
Can you imagine a president who refutes global warming?
There's people that do.
Anyways.
But again, I can make business decisions around it, right? Wow, and just having like more worldly view, understand that this is a nice place to live, right? We have our problems. We're so far from perfect, right?
Yep.
We're so far from perfect, but it's way less perfect than other places in the world. Right?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Right. Yeah. You look at, we have family in Hong Kong, We know how it's becoming more communist.
Yeah.
Right? We Taiwan's got their issues with China. Right?
Scary.
Like India's healthcare system basically collapsed.
Yeah.
Right? Where do our immigrants come from?
Those places.
Exactly. And if you have money and you live in those places, where are you going? Where are your options to go?
Norway.
Right? Sure. Right? But we're going to get a bunch of them here too.
Yeah.
So then what do you do to prepare for it?
Build upwards.
Sure. Right? That's an option. Right? So to me, again, so having a worldview, understand these things. And also that I'm not subjected to, drinking someone else's Kool-Aid.
You drink your own instead.
Sure. Because I said to someone as a joke, they're asking me why I don't know private lend, right? Especially funds. And I'm just saying, I'd rather control my own money. Mm-hmm. And if I'm going to lose my own money, I'm going to lose money, I want to be responsible for it, not someone else.
I feel that way too. I feel that way. My mom's like, can I just give you some money to trade? I'm like, no. I think, no.
That's awesome.
I don't want to trade your money.
She has that kind of faith in you.
Oh, she was like, here's 10 grand. Not like she's giving me anything worth it. I was like, what do you give me 10 grand for? And I was like, I can't take that risk. I wouldn't sleep well at night. Even 10 grand. It's just, This is the feeling. I'm not a fund manager. We're a child.
Yeah.
I just started this.
Right.
Give me 5 years.
All right. Maybe. And then you'll do it?
I don't know. Probably not. It's just, the responsibility is way over my head. Way over my head.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It just doesn't feel right.
You rather her put money in a mutual fund or someone's hedge fund? One of these professionals?
She's a trader. My mom's a trader.
Bank stocks?
Yeah. Oh no. She on my recommendation, she bought and sold Apple, Air Canada when it was reopening. I made her some money.
Nice.
I do not want to take her money.
Right. So you just told her what you were trading, and she just did the stock.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Tell her she owes me dim sum too.
Sure. You just have to drive the hour trek to market.
The food is worth it.
Oh my goodness. So good. So good. World class.
All right, Chubby, I've completely lost track of time. We should really put a clock in here.
Our tea time's coming up.
Is it? No, it's not.
Yeah, might be.
Chubby, any final thoughts for young people? Real estate, stocks, both, crypto?
Real estate.
Gold?
Do your homework.
Any sources for homework?
YouTube. YouTube's a boundless, endless treasure chest.
Mm-hmm. We have a YouTube channel, by the way. This will be on YouTube.
Cool.
Yeah, that's why.
Did I consent to that?
By being on camera, you did.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Crap.
By being family, you did.
The family clause.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
By teaching this life skill.
Have a long-term goal. Live within your means. I think we're speaking to that audience anyways if they're watching this.
Hopefully.
Yeah, who's watching this, living that paycheck to paycheck? Oh, maybe they are, right? If you're paycheck to paycheck...
starting out, possibly, totally.
Look at your expenses if you're paycheck to paycheck. That should not happen. You have options, right? It should not happen. In our family, it would never happen. We'd be living...
Yeah. Looking at our parents we're grinders.
Grinders, man. Our family grinded.
Yeah.
Grinded. We all start from our own. I think we all made our own way.
Yeah. Like one of the first Zitos that was here
opened
a restaurant. Yeah, before them, basically a slave.
Before.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad opened his business borrowing money from my poor grandma, who lived in government housing. Woo, imagine that. Borrowing from your grandma who lives in government housing to start a real estate business.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So, venture capitalism. Done the right way.
Like your mom and my mom, they waited on tables and washed dishes.
Yep.
Right?
Live within their means, man. People don't do that anymore. They see the Instagram lifestyle. I want that latte. I want that nice car.
Yeah.
And financing doesn't care about your credit sometimes. They just want your money now. Yeah. You can finance a watch. Like, come on. Who's financing? If you got to finance a watch, you can't afford the watch.
It's a cash flow choice.
Someone who's financing a watch doesn't deserve to talk about cash flow. Okay? You don't deserve to talk about cash flow.
I want to learn about these financing options so I can keep more cash in my account.
If you want to finance watches, go for it. It's the other side of them I'm talking about. There's a business there. Financing? It's weird. Live within your means. Grind it out. Research. Long-term plan. We don't want to think of retirement. Younger people don't want to visualize their old selves, right? It's scary. We're all going to get old.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling my ex-girlfriend, I was like, look, one day you'll want to stop working because your back's going to hurt. You need to be too tired to get out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
Plan for that now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's such an unsexy thing to think about,
mm-hmm.
right? What? I'm 30, I'm 25. I want to travel. It's like, yeah, well, I'm going to travel a hell of a lot more than you when I'm 50, so whatever.
It's not even just about saying goodbye to that paycheck, but also I just had two friends put parents in homes, and it's like one person's paying $5,000 a month, the other one's paying $6,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Who's paying for that?
Yeah.
Ain't the government.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
People have to come out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one thing to say goodbye to your income. It's another thing to get to come out of pocket for this per month.
Yeah.
Thousands of dollars. $5,000 per month is $60,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Do folks have that?
Sometimes.
Hopefully they do. Because what are you going to do?
Yeah. That's harsh.
If you're on assisted living.
Yeah.
Right? Our grandparents went through assisted living. That was a lot of money. Thankfully, their kids make lots of money and can afford it.
Yep. My dad paid for my grandmother's living across the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it's brutal. It's brutal. Because her children were not that well off. It's brutal. Anyways, different story.
And to
She
me,
reminded me of it. Yikes.
And to me, that's a sign of success is when you can give back to the people that got you there, right? And usually starts with your parents.
Yeah, actually, that is the first thing I did and continuing doing is taking my parents out to dinner. That's something I never did before. They knew it. But now I'm like, I can do it. It's like, that's a really cool thing. That is the one thing I've changed lifestyle-wise. That's the only thing I've changed is I can take my parents out to a nice dinner.
All right. What started that?
Making more money.
With this side hustle?
Yeah.
Of stock hacking?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It's insane. I don't want to romanticize what we do here. But with the short year and a half of this trading, it seems pretty fruitful and slightly unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Am I lucky?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know either.
It's no different than our real estate. We all got a little bit lucky.
Yeah.
Right. But there was a lot of grinding that went into it.
Yeah. You grind for the capital,
Yeah.
and then you wait for the timing to hit you.
Yeah. And then not even just us, like the previous generations, they all grinded.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's literally, like we have family members that were slaves here.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Live within your means. I think that's all I could say. This is an expensive side hustle. It's not buy one share, let it quadruple in price. That's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
30% a year seems like nothing if you don't have anything. And it is nothing. So you get that snowball rolling quick. Early. I think you start early. Save now. That's it.
Amazing. All right.
That's it.
Thank you, Chubby, for doing this. Thank you for being so open. Oh, and this is the first time we've had a family member on the show.
You gonna get Tony in here?
Maybe one day.
Still doesn't get his terminology right.
It's okay.
He's funny. He's awesome.
All right. Thank you again for doing this, Chubby.